What's the point of a plot twist? Some would say it's to surprise the viewer while feeling inevitable. Others would say it's to show what came before in a different light. But most would agree that the worst type of twist is the bailout twist, a twist whose only purpose is to fix everything in the story with the wave of a hand. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I recently rewatched Charlotte after like 7 years, so it's been a while, and I think I can divide the 13 episodes into 3 blocks. First 6 episodes, potential peak fiction. Episode 7, peak for like 15 minutes. The rest, fucking generic sci-fi slop. And the OVA goes into the first block. Here's my reasoning. Block 1. So close yet so far. I'm a sucker for the 4 teenager misfits being brought together via a common objective trope. It's a classic for a reason. That's what Charlotte was setting up to be for the first 5 episodes. The powers were very limited with clear downsides, so they have to actually think and get creative to turn them into useful tools. Tomori can become invisible, but just to one person at a time. Takajo can quote-unquote teleport, but it's not precise and it carries momentum, I guess? It's not really explained why they call it teleportation when he's clearly just moving in a straight line. And you can possess the body of someone, but only for 5 seconds. And his body passes out. So right out of the gate, it shows clear constraints which stop these powers from being just a free jail card to every single situation they might face in the future. Unlike those power fantasy isekais with a tower or a dungeon or some bullshit building where floors are levels and the protagonist becomes unfathomably stronger than everybody else cause he's such a special boy. I've never seen Solo Leveling, so in my head I was talking about Kirito. I was guessing the show would be something like Kokoro Connect, but with less horror elements and more bonding that thrives because of clear group dynamics. I was also into the whole Monster of the Week structure, with the gang going out to find a different person with specific powers every episode, which in turn would force them to create different plans and use their powers in different ways and have interactions that impact their perspective in life or something. That just sounds like a cool show to watch. Take Hugh, for example. In the first episode, we see him rise and fall, with his powers getting to his head and him treating everyone around him like shit. Basically, the power to possess people for 5 seconds turned him into Walmart Kira. He's then found out and forced into a special school, which is for people with special abilities, and discovers that the powers disappear after adolescence. Cool, that's the premise of the show. Yu fits a character type that I really like. Someone becoming a better person after they stop being special. Him being forced into the student council with 2 other people that also have powers and getting to know that the powers eventually fade away make him finally get out of this chosen one mentality. While at the same time giving him peers that understand his exact position. Yu is an asshole, but we also get to see that he's not a sociopath. He treats his sister very well, and getting into a prestigious school was on his mind as a way to get out of poverty. He's a troublesome teenager, not a serial killer, you know? Then we get to see him slowly opening up and sympathizing with others, becoming kinder, considerate, and just a more decent human being in general. The rest of the gang is also really entertaining, with Tomori being one of my favorites, except for the slot part of the show, but we'll get there. She's also an asshole, but a lovable one, with her own hardships which shaped her into this weird, good, sarcastic, and seemingly indifferent person. She and Yu clash really well, to the point where I was expecting a Toradora being with Taiga feels like home thing to play out. They also have a established parallel early on, with Yu having a younger sister with no powers and Tomori having an older brother with powers, with the clear possibility of Ayumi, Yu's sister, developing powers later. So, based on these first 5 episodes, I thought this would be a coming-of-age story, using powers as a metaphor for how adolescence changes the way you interact with the world, and have some good funny bits here and there, and that simply sounds like peak. I'm also halfway through the show, so how could I possibly be wrong? Ayumi fucking dies. At first I didn't believe they would actually follow through with this, mainly because up to now the anime has been surprisingly lighthearted, only touching on some realistic dark topics every now and then, like Tomori's brother being experimented on and becoming insane because of that. So, a tragedy of this scale, out of nowhere, for the sake of subversion, seemed out of place. With that said, there was a part of me that questioned, how the fuck did I not remember this happening? Nope, she actually dies for real. Episode 6 is basically a red herring. The viewer assumes at first that the weird psycho looking kid that obviously hates Ayumi is the one with this episode's power, but in the end, it's revealed that it was Ayumi all along, as she causes the building to collapse on top of herself. Episode 7 immediately confirms that Ayumi is dead. It's an episode entirely about you dealing with grief. To be honest, it's a great change of pace, even if it's a really sudden dark turn for the story, to the point where, at times, it feels like a different anime. I really prefer the middle point of the episode, where Yu is drenched in depression and basically just a walking corpse. I found that way more compelling than the powerful guy goes insane in his unstoppable trope that he does later on. In the end, Tomori reveals that she was watching him the whole time and convinces him to come back to the Student Council. Cool, but wait, what? He's already fine by episode 8? For real? My script talks about his grief for longer than the show does, for fuck's sake. I know it's a short anime, but come on, his sister died like 15 minutes ago, can we linger on for a bit? And as I'm questioning this, the very next episode turns into a very abrupt and forced date episode between Tomori and Yu. But hey, at least we're developing their relationship, I guess. Nope, he has a mental breakdown which reveals visions from the past. Block 3. I should have just watched Steins Gate again. So, you know how the story has constantly developed the gang's dynamic, introduced a new character into the student council, and has even made Yu and Tomori share a parallel? Yeah, it's time to throw all of that shit away, baby. Welcome to this new show about how Yu's brother is actually a fucking time traveler and the founder of the school that they're in, and how Yu is the chosen one with the most special, most powerful, most amazing powers to ever exist. No, I'm not fucking with you. This is the rest of the show from the end of episode 9 to the end of episode 13. His actual ability, all this time, was to absorb the power of anyone he possesses. Not only that, but he also erases the power. The extra twist that every special person they've met thus far have lost their ability sure is cool, even though most of the anime was straight up philosophical discussions on why these people shouldn't rely on their powers. But guess what? They didn't have a fucking choice anyway. Before I talk about how much I hate the last episode, time to nitpick 2 specific things that bother me just because of how convenient they are. Thing number 1. Kumagami saying how Yu's ability works instead of just saying a name. This is literally the only time it happens, and its only purpose is to save the student council the trouble of discovering his ability by themselves. They literally spend the entire 6th episode, the episode where Ayumi dies, full of tension because they only have a name to work with. Another thing to know is how it doesn't make sense that Yu never tries to possess either of the 2 people hunting him in the first episode. But in hindsight, this would mean a main character loses their ability. The only reason he doesn't try to possess them is because there would be no fucking story. Great. Thing number 2. Yu regaining memories from another timeline. This is literally the introduction to the time travel twist, and it's never explained. He remembers what happened in the past that doesn't exist anymore when no one else does. Not even Ayumi, which is his sister. God, not even his time traveler brother remembers it. The anime acknowledges this once, with his brother saying, "Yeah, I don't know why you can remember all of this, lol." Great stuff. Then, we arrive at episode 13. 20 minutes of just Yu hunting down people as if we didn't focus on him enough already. The last 3 episodes being just about him, to the point where the rest of the gang becomes less than side characters, just wasn't enough. And Tomori, with her odd, abrasive personality, is reduced to a damsel in distress that might as well scream, "Please save the world, Yu-kun!" Then the last 5 minutes of the entire show are just about him losing his memories. The end. I'm gonna kill myself. Block 4. Conclusion. The problem I have with Charlotte's twist is not that it wasn't hinted at before it happened. They did give some hints. Like Ayumi feeling there's someone missing as we see the silhouette of an unknown person. My problem is, the only thing the twist accomplished was 5 seconds of subversion followed by dismissing the entire story set up before it. centering a single character when the backbone of the show was the group dynamic. Said group ends up turning into a shallow, empty husk of themselves. Even Tomori, the main heroine, became just another face whose only purpose is cheering the main hero on with nothing else of substance. It manages to somehow change genres while feeling 10 times more predictable and generic. The definition of a downgrade. Charlotte just didn't know how to keep making a Monster of the Week structure interesting, so he threw it all away in service of a military dystopia whose main character is destined to save the world. I shouldn't be this invested in a random anime from 2015, I'll be honest. So anyway, I'm playing this visual novel called Stansgate and it's pretty good.